Developing news now. New details tonight in that deadly stabbing at a Conway Walmart Tuesday night. Police say a store employee was killed and officers were forced to use both a gun and a taser to stop the person responsible. Conway police tell us they don't believe that employee and the man who's in custody in connection to her death knew each other. Good evening, everyone. Glad to have you with us for Fox 16 News at 6:30. I'm Donna Terrell.
I'm Kevin Kelly. Investigators say they're still trying to put the pieces together to determine a motive. Fox 16's Mike Rogers has more now from Conway.
Just before 11 Tuesday night, Conway police were called to the Walmart on Skyline Drive for reports of a stabbing involving an employee. When they arrived, they found 37-year-old Zedrick Ross still inside the store, armed with a knife.
They were trying to get him to drop the knife. He was not complying at that.
It prompted them to escalate force. One officer fired a shot, but it did not hit Ross or anyone else. Another officer then deployed a taser, allowing them to take Ross into custody without serious injury.
Compliance, he advanced on the officers after that non-compliance, and that obviously raised up the level of force at that point.
Meanwhile, officers and emergency crews attempted to save 32-year-old employee Jordanne Drinkwater, but she died at the scene. Police say there appears to be no connection between Ross and Drinkwater, and a motive remains unclear. Daniel Hogan with the Conway Police Department says the knife used in the attack was brought into the store and there were both shoppers and employees inside at the time. No one else was injured during the confrontation, and the officer who fired their weapon has been placed on administrative leave, standard protocol, as the investigation continues. In a statement, Walmart's global press office said, quote, "We are heartbroken by what happened at our Conway, Arkansas store Tuesday night and extend our thoughts and prayers to those impacted. We're focused on taking care of our associates and supporting law enforcement with their investigation." Ross is now being held in the Faulkner County Detention Center on a first-degree murder charge without bond.
She clocked in for her shift. Same store she had worked at for years. Same aisles. Same co-workers. Same familiar faces coming and going on a Tuesday night in Conway, Arkansas. Just another night. Just before 11 p.m., a man walked into that Walmart. He wasn't there to shop. He wasn't there to return something. He was there because, somewhere deep in a reality that had completely broken away from the one the rest of us live in, he believed a demon was following him. And he believed he had found it. He grabbed a woman. He stabbed her in the neck. He stabbed her in the shoulder. And then, he looked down. And according to the police affidavit, he realized that the woman bleeding on the floor in front of him was not a demon at all. She was Jordanne Drinkwater. 32 years old. Known to everyone who loved her as Puff. She was just working her normal shift. Tonight on Midnight Case Files, we are telling the story of a woman who went to work and never came home. A woman whose smile, according to every single person who ever crossed her path, could pull you out of the worst mood you had ever been in. A woman who helped people stay sober. Who made strangers feel like old friends in the Christmas aisle of a Walmart. A woman who deserved to clock out and go home that night. Jordanne Drinkwater. Say her name. Before we go into what happened that night, before we talk about the man who walked into that store, I need you to know who Jordanne was. Because in a story this shocking, it is dangerously easy to get lost in the strangeness of what the suspect claimed and forget the most important person in this story. The woman who was taken. Jordanne Drinkwater was 32 years old. She worked at the Walmart Supercenter on Skyline Drive in Conway, Arkansas, a city of about 65,000 people, roughly 30 miles north of Little Rock. To her friends, she was Puff. Her friend Sam Slaughter, who knew Jordanne for nearly 10 years, found out about her death the morning after when a friend texted her. She said,
I called him and I said, "You're kidding. It's not Jordan, not Puff, right? Like, that's not Puff, right?" The world stopped, it felt like. I never met somebody as pure as Jordan. She helped change my entire life for the better. Everything from staying sober to the way I think about the world and how it works and not putting more hate into it. She was an amazing human being, and she's going to be so, so missed.
She helped change someone's entire life. From working a shift at Walmart. And it wasn't just her close friends. Customers who barely knew her name came forward with memories that they said had stayed with them for years. Tara Lehman, a Conway resident, said, "She was always seeking me out and making sure that she said hello to me and asking about my family." Sarah Warren said, "She just showed me that there are still really good people out there. She always had a smile on her face. You would walk in there in maybe a bad mood and walk out in the best mood ever." Warren remembered a chance encounter in the Christmas aisle, where Jordanne stopped and talked to her like they had known each other forever. "It's felt like that ever since," she said. A former co-worker, Sherry Douthit, hadn't worked alongside Jordanne since 2021. When she heard the news, she said one thing that I think captures how everyone felt: she absolutely did not deserve to die on a concrete floor at Walmart. She was right. Nobody deserves that. But especially not someone like Jordanne Drinkwater. If Jordanne's story is already hitting you, and I know it is, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a case like this on Midnight Case Files. And drop a comment below. Have you ever had a stranger in a store make such a positive impact on your life that you still remember it years later? Because that's who Jordanne was. Every single day. Now let's talk about what happened. Tuesday night. March 31, 2026. Close to 11 p.m. The Walmart Supercenter on Skyline Drive was running its late shift, smaller crew, quieter than the day, fluorescent lights humming overhead. Jordanne Drinkwater was there. Working her normal shift. At approximately 10:58 p.m., the Conway Police Department received the call. A man was stabbing a female employee inside the store. Officers were dispatched immediately. Conway Police Public Information Officer Daniel Hogan addressed the media about what happened next. He said,
They were trying to get him to drop the knife. He was not complying at that.
It prompted them to escalate force. One officer fired a shot, but it did not hit Ross or anyone else. Another officer then deployed a taser, allowing them to take Ross into custody without serious injury.
Compliance, he advanced on the officers after that non-compliance, and that obviously raised up the level of force at that point.
Meanwhile, officers and emergency crews attempted to save 32-year-old employee Jordanne Drinkwater, but she died at the scene. Police say there appears to be no connection between Ross and Drinkwater, and a motive remains unclear.
Officers had arrived within 1 minute of that call. 1 minute. They entered the store and found the suspect, 37-year-old Zedric Ross, still armed with a knife. He ignored commands to drop the weapon. He advanced toward an officer. One officer fired a single shot. It missed. A second officer deployed a taser. Ross went down and was taken into custody. But it was already too late for Jordanne. Despite everything the officers and paramedics did, Jordanne Drinkwater was pronounced dead on the floor of that store. Zedric Ross, 37, was booked into the Faulkner County Detention Center on a charge of first-degree murder. Bond set at $1 million. At the press conference, Officer Hogan confirmed the most devastating detail of all. He said Ross was not employed by Walmart. He did not know Jordanne. Had no prior interaction with her whatsoever. He said,
I hate to sit there and speculate and say anything like random act of violence, but it truly was. There was no correlation between the two that we found yet.
And then he said something else. Something that reminded everyone that behind the badge and the press release, there were human beings standing at that scene who felt the weight of what had happened. He said, "It's an unfortunate incident where our thoughts and prayers do go with Jordanne. And go with her family, and friends, and the Walmart staff." Now I need to tell you what Zedric Ross told police after he was taken into custody. Because this is where the story shifts from a crime into something much more complicated. After being read his rights, detectives sat down with Ross. And he told them why he did it. He said he had been stalked by a demon. He described the demon, and this is from the police affidavit, as a light-skinned black woman with brown eyes and a weave, whom he had only ever seen at a distance. He said before going to Walmart, he had stolen a large knife from a nearby Walgreens, for protection, he said. He had also taken a machete from inside Walmart itself. Both weapons. For the demon. When he saw Jordanne from a distance, he believed she was the demon. He grabbed her. He stabbed her in the neck and shoulder. And then, he looked down. And realized the woman on the floor was not the demon he thought he was killing. Investigators wrote in the affidavit, and I want you to hear these exact words. After the stabbing, Zedrick looked down and realized that the female laying on the ground was not the demon, and looked nothing like the demon he thought he was killing. The individual he was stabbing was actually Jordanne Drinkwater, who is an employee of Walmart who was just working her normal shift. Just working her normal shift. Police also noted that Ross's address was listed as a Conway homeless shelter. Now here is where this story takes yet another stunning turn. Because Zedrick Ross has a mother. And she spoke out. Her name is Michelle. She spoke exclusively to KRK News. And what she said was, to put it simply, one of the most raw and heartbreaking interviews I have ever heard in a case like this. She said when she looks at her son's mugshot, the mugshot of a man she raised. I see a monster. That's what I see. I see a son I don't even recognize anymore. She said growing up, Zedrick was a good son. No major problems. He grew up in Harlem, New York. But in his late teens, he was clinically diagnosed with severe depression disorder. The last time Michelle spoke to her son was in 2019, right before he moved to Arkansas. 7 years of silence before this moment. She said she still loves her son. But she hates what he allegedly did. And she had a message for Jordanne's family. She said, "That's a terrible loss you can never replace. You can never replace that. So I know that if they're seeking justice, I understand. I don't blame them for that." And when asked what she would say to her son if she could speak to him right now, she said, "I would say, how could you do that? How could you do something like that, thinking a demon is stalking you, when it's obvious you're being paranoid? It was a terrible mistake that you can't fix. You can't fix what you've done. I hope you're sorry for what you've done." A mother. Who loves her son. Who sees a monster when she looks at his face. Who is brave enough to sit in front of a camera and tell the world he was wrong, while also telling Jordanne's family she understands their pain. That takes something. I want to stop right here and hear from you. After hearing Michelle speak about her son, do you think mental illness should be a factor in how this case is prosecuted? Drop yes or no in the comments below. And share this video, because Jordanne's story deserves to be heard by as many people as possible. In the days that followed Jordanne's death, her family came forward. And their words were dignified. And heartbroken. And filled with love for the woman they lost. Jordanne's uncle, Caleb Roundtree, spoke to reporters about his niece. He said she was one of the sweetest people he had ever met in his life. She was always trying to make the people in her life feel special, he said. He found out about her death through a phone call from his own mother. And he said, quietly, heartbroken. I remember her telling me what happened and I just didn't believe it. It's mostly just been the slow realization that this is real, and we won't be able to see her again. The family also released an official statement through their attorney. They said Jordanne was, and I want you to hear this, the light of so many lives in our close-knit community. They said, we are devastated by the senseless and inexplicable loss of her life, which was taken in a preventable, violent attack. Jordanne loved her work friends as her own family and store guests as close friends, and we know they are all hurting as well. We want to thank the countless friends and strangers who have reached out. Your prayers, stories, and thoughts are deeply appreciated. As we try to process this tragedy, we are also seeking answers. No family should have to endure this kind of loss, and we expect a full and transparent understanding of the circumstances surrounding Jordanne's death. A full and transparent understanding. They are asking the right questions. How did a man who was clinically diagnosed with severe depression disorder, a man who believed he was being stalked by a demon, end up walking into a Walmart with a stolen knife? Where did the system fail? Who was supposed to catch this? And yet even in the middle of that grief, even while demanding answers, this family's focus, they said, is on one thing. Honoring Jordanne's life. And keeping her memory alive. This case forces us to ask some uncomfortable questions. And I think we owe it to Jordanne to ask them out loud. The first question is about mental health. Zedric Ross was diagnosed with severe depression in his late teens. His mother said she last spoke to him in 2019. His listed address was a homeless shelter. This is a man who, somewhere along the way, fell completely through the cracks. We don't yet know his full mental health history. We don't know if he ever received treatment. We don't know if he ever tried to get help. But the National Alliance on Mental Illness reports that over 40% of people experiencing serious mental illness in the United States receive no treatment whatsoever. None. The second question is about workplace safety. Retail workers, the people who stock our shelves, ring up our groceries, work the overnight shifts, are among the most vulnerable workers in the country when it comes to violent incidents. The mother of one of Jordanne's co-workers told KATV News that she is scared for her own daughter still working in that store, and she is calling for more security measures to protect workers and customers alike. Conway police reassured the public this appeared to be an isolated incident. Officer Hogan said, "I don't ever want people to think this is a very dangerous place. And I understand why he said that. But I also think we can hold two truths at once. Conway can be a safe place. And we can do more to protect the people who show up and serve their communities every single day." The third question is the hardest one. It's about the people we walk past without really seeing. The cashiers. The stalkers. The night shift workers like Jordanne who showed up when the rest of us were asleep. These are the people who keep our world running. And Jordanne Drinkwater did it with a smile that people remembered for years. We should all be asking ourselves, when was the last time we really saw someone like that? When was the last time we said thank you and meant it? If this video has made you feel something, please share it right now. Not for the algorithm. For Jordanne. So that her name reaches as many people as possible. And if you're not subscribed to Midnight Case Files, hit that button right now. Every story we tell matters. Every name deserves to be remembered. I want to end the way we always should with a story like this. Not with the suspect. Not with the affidavit. Not with the legal proceedings. With her. Jordanne Puff Drinkwater. 32 years old. Conway, Arkansas. A woman who helped people want to stay sober. Who made strangers feel seen with nothing more than a smile and a genuine question about your family. Who stopped with you in the Christmas aisle and talked like she had known you forever. Her uncle Caleb said she was always trying to make the people in her life feel special. Her friend Sam said the world stopped when she heard the news. Her family called her the light of so many lives in their community. And her former co-worker Sherry, who hadn't worked beside her in 5 years, felt the need to say publicly. She absolutely did not deserve to die on a concrete floor at Walmart. She didn't. No one does. But especially not someone who poured as much warmth into the world as Jordanne Drinkwater did. Jordanne Drinkwater. We see you. Here is where the case stands today. Zedric Ross, 37, has been charged with first-degree murder in the death of Jordanne Drinkwater. He is currently held at the Faulkner County Detention Center on a $1 million bond. His next court appearance is scheduled for April 20th. The Conway Police Department investigation is still ongoing. If you have any information about the events at the Conway Walmart on the night of March 31st, contact Conway Police at 501-450-6130. Anonymous tips, 501-450-6135. We will follow this case as it develops. When there are updates, we will bring them to you right here on Midnight Case Files. For Jordanne Drinkwater, who was pure, and kind, and full of a light that people are still feeling even now that she's gone. She deserved to go home that night. This has been Midnight Case Files. Drop a comment below. What do you think needs to change to protect workers like Jordanne and to keep people with untreated mental illness from falling through the cracks? I want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video. Say her name. Jordanne Drinkwater. Rest easy, Jordanne.